The new Tesla Roadster will go from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, make 7,375 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels, has a top speed of 250 miles per hour, and has a range of 630 miles with its 200 kilowatt-hour battery pack. But what does any of that actually mean? And what kind of car will the new Tesla Roadster actually be? Keep watching to find out. Elon has definitely done a good job enticing us with his new Halo car and all of the wacky numbers associated with it. So let's run through what he has said so far and apply that to what we already know about Teslas in particular and electric cars in general to see if we can get a more complete sense of what this car is going to be all about. 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. I have no reason to doubt that an electric car putting maximum torque to all the wheels could do that, as the guys over at Academic Motorsports Club Zurich made an all-wheel drive vehicle back in 2016 that managed a 0 to 60 time of 1.513 seconds. Granted, that car was not on street legal tires, and only seats one, and has a ton of aero, but the point is that all-wheel drive electric cars are the fastest way to accelerate with tires that are fully inflated, see Top Fuel dragsters. And we're not going to get into the discussion about the 1-foot rollout, as a video by superior YouTuber Jason from Engineering Explained already did a good job covering that topic. Check the link at the end of the video. Now on to the 7,375 foot-pounds of torque. Without horsepower, or gearing, those numbers are kind of useless. For example, a 2016 2-liter Camaro can put down 4,244 foot-pounds of torque in first gear minus transmission losses. Keep in mind that electric motors make maximum torque at 0 RPM, so those numbers are not directly comparable, but you get the idea. Now on to something we can elaborate on, the battery pack. Tesla says the Roadster is going to have a 200 kilowatt-hour battery pack, giving it an effective range of 630 miles. While they haven't released any weight figures for the car, we can use what we know to at least make a good estimate. The 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack in the Tesla Model S P100D is said to weigh about 1,400 pounds. So if the new Roadster is using 2 times the batteries of the P100D, the battery pack alone could weigh as much as 2,800 pounds, or the same as an entire Subaru BRZ. Though Tesla hasn't officially announced anywhere, that we could find at least, whether or not the Roadster is going to use the new 2170 cells that Tesla and Panasonic have been developing, it would only seem logical, as their dates for rollout are about the same, roundabouts 2020. Details on the new 2170 cell are sketchy at the moment, but in an interview, Elon did say that these batteries will have a new chemical structure and could yield higher energy densities of 10 to 15%, which would trim off as much as 300 pounds from the battery system. So if a car with the battery system weighs from 2,500 to 2,800 pounds, how heavy will the car be all in? Well, the all-wheel drive Model S weighs about 3,300 pounds without its battery pack. So how light could the Roadster be? Without any data on the materials that are being used for the chassis, i.e. carbon or aluminum, this part is going to be more informed speculation than fact. So let's be super optimistic and say that the Roadster, minus the battery pack, weighs 1,200 pounds less than the all-wheel drive Model S without the battery. That would make it around 2,200 pounds. So with a 2,200 poundish car and a 25 to 2,800 pound battery pack, we're looking at a complete car that could weigh from 4,700 to 5,000 pounds or more. And people said the Bugatti was overweight. Though like everything else with electric cars, that 5,000 pounds is not going to feel the same as a 5,000 pound internal combustion engine road car, as the center of gravity on Teslas are much lower. With that being said, this 4,700 to 5,000 pound plus supercar is never going to feel like a Miata or even like a McLaren in the tight twisties. Now back to the battery pack, because aside from adding weight and cost, doubling the battery capacity is going to have a lot of benefits. First of all, the less current you draw from the individual cells at a time, the more power you can actually get out of them. So doubling the battery capacity would actually more than double your range in most cases. Also, the lower draw on the individual cells would lead to a longer life of the battery pack, and much less cell heating issues. Does this mean that we are going to start seeing Teslas dominate racing circuits like they've been doing the quarter and eighth mile? Probably not, as the high curb weight will not be doing it any favors in the corners. though I would expect to start seeing Tesla Roadsters in some of those Texas Mile type events. So what is the takeaway from all this? Sports car and supercar fans don't have to fret about electric cars taking over just yet, as it will take a much larger jump in energy capacity than we have seen so far for the curb weights to get down enough to be a track-worthy car, particularly the short track and endurance racing. But if drag racing is your thing, then you should be very concerned. Actually, you should have already been concerned. Sure, your grocery getter will have a plug sooner rather than later, but there will always be buyers for nimble, lightweight roustabouts. And right now, that is a market battery power just can't crack. Maybe one day the answer won't always be Miata, but that day, thankfully, is still some ways off. So what do you think the new Tesla Roadster is going to be like? How much is it going to weigh? Be sure to leave us some comments and click subscribe.